Hi, I'm Dr. Judith Barnes. I'm an author, a playwright, poet. I'm also a broadcaster by training, and I recently found out about 2 years ago that I can paint paintings, which means I paint sceneries, I paint landscape, I paint animals. I have just discovered, and so that I can do this. And so, along with all the other gifts and talents that I've been blessed with, have paintings, and they are on view and for sale on Etsy and also on Facebook. And if you desire to order any painting or order one of my books, because I'm also an author, please give me a call at 470-564-8267. That's Dr. Judith, and the number again, whether you want to just talk to me or order one of my paintings or one of my books, please feel free to call 470-564-8267. Thank you.
Hello there and welcome. My name is Curtis Henry. Over the past few weeks, as we were putting the final pieces together to get the show on the road, some people ask, why do you need to showcase Caribbean people? Why Caribbean Chat? And I say, why not? Because we as Caribbean people have worked too hard, come too far, and suffered too long for us to continue taking a backseat. It's time for us to rise up, speak out, and show the world the value and the richness of our culture. So I'm providing a platform to showcase the history and culture of Caribbean people in entertainment, the arts, politics, sports, and economics. We will explore the many profound contributions they have made to society. So we invite you to stay with us as we launch what is to become one of the greatest voices of Caribbean people, for Caribbean people, by Caribbean people. On this platform, Caribbean people of excellence get to tell their story. Our aim is to ensure that your contributions are acknowledged and celebrated. Welcome to Caribbean Chat. So make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We are Caribbean Chat.
And denial.
Avoidance and denial, which ties in so well with our previous topic.
Exactly.
Some people think by looking the other way that this situation will go away. By avoiding talking about it, you won't be confronted with it. You won't have to deal with the reality of the situation. And we use this approach so many times in life. Avoidance and denial. We avoid talking to family members. We avoid talking to spouses. We deny certain things going on in our relationships. We turn a blind eye. It's such a broad topic.
It is.
Dr. Judith, take the lead. I want to sit back tonight. I want to sit back tonight and learn something. Let me see if I can learn something from these women.
You know, so that tick, right? You know, so that tick, right? Try.
Okay, it is a very broad topic. But what I will do, first of all, I will do the professional way, which is very hard for me. No, just kidding. There's in the psychological field, there's a manual. It's called Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Yes, DSM-5 is the most current one that I know of. And basically, it lists disorders. It also lists, with a disorder, it lists the elements that makes it a disorder. It also gives you the duration of certain symptoms that makes it a disorder, because you can have a problem and it doesn't, let's put it this way, you can have a problem that only lasts a couple of days, a couple of hours. It is unlikely that the DSM-5 would have that in there in terms of a disorder. They deal with things that the duration of the condition is usually weeks leading into months and sometimes even years. So the DSM-5 explains disorders, and it explains duration of the illness and different ways to go about testing also, yes. By all means. Intensity, yes, and testing, yeah. So for avoidance, I will read to you what it says here. I mean, the word, if you know what the word means, it's kind of simple, but it's not simplistic. It can be a very complicated thing. It says people with avoidant personality disorder avoid social situations due to fear of rejection and being judged by others. So there are different reasons why avoidance takes place. Usually, most human beings, we are not good at feeling uncomfortable. So whatever it is that we need to feel more comfortable, we'll avoid, whatever it is that's negative, that's making us uncomfortable, we'll avoid that situation. So that's simple enough to understand. Denial, in a sense, is the same thing. Just a different spelling as far as I'm concerned. We cannot deal with an issue. We can't deal with certain things in our lives. And so we'll deny that it exists. We'll even deny that people exist because they make us uncomfortable. In psychology, one of the things they talk about is negative transference. And what that usually means is that, you have met somebody that you meet them and something about them, you just can't stand them. Something about it, you say, I can't stand her. And
Jamaican say, my spirit just not take that person.
My spirit not take her. Sure. My spirit not take her at all. From she walk in, if you want to get basic, from she walk in the room.
You're always right. You're always right.
Yeah. From she walk in the room, just something about her, I can't stand her. And that's usually, sometimes what happens in a case like that is this person reminds you of somebody that you had a bad relationship with in the past. Somebody that, just things it wasn't copacetic between this person. And this new person might even look like the person, sound like the person, or you might start thinking they sound like them or looking like them just because of something they say.
Sometimes it's just the energy.
Whatever
energy
it is.
Of that person.
Yeah, okay. There's something that makes you just feel, so it's called negative transference. You transfer the negative stuff from somebody else to this person. The sad thing is that this person might mean you no harm. They might not have anything against you. They don't even know why you responded to them the way you are, because it's your issue, not theirs necessarily. So, okay, Mr. Henry, did you want to go on?
No.
I didn't know what your hand gestures meant, I wasn't sure. So, but usually, just to be very sure, avoidance and denial are what's the word? Oh, this is terrible. They're defense mechanisms, and they're used to avoid to not deal with things that we find uncomfortable, distasteful.
People
things
deflect
that
all the time. They deflect all the time.
We project onto people what we can't contain, what's too painful for us. I hear people talk about people who are boasters. Sometimes the person who's saying that somebody's a boaster is the biggest boaster there is. And they can't stand it in themselves, so they project it onto somebody else. So I'm glad I'm doing this. My skills, I haven't used these in a while. Anyway, but it's a very dynamic process, meaning that it changes, and it changes depending just who's in the room. But the idea is that what I want people to understand out of this, if nothing else, is that it doesn't have to be a problem. It doesn't have to be a disorder. It can be helped with counseling, but beyond counseling, any mental health disorder, and I shouldn't say any, there's some that are very difficult, needs medication, there are chemical issues why it happens, but things like avoidance and denial, in order for it to change, you've got to admit that there's a problem. And that's part of denial. Most of us deny that there's a problem. So
what about when you see avoidance and denial in the media? We're talking on a larger scale. The perfect example.
Go ahead.
Allow me one second. The perfect example is the two gentlemen that we just had on that talk about St. Vincent's and the Grenadines and the continuous eruption since the 9th of April.
Right.
Because of the types of court cases being spotlighted in the media recently, every single day, I can truthfully say I have not seen any news story, not for lack of watching the news, I have not seen any news story which has spotlighted St. Vincent's and the Grenadines and Barbados and stuff like that. I have not seen any news coverage in the last 2 weeks. That's I'm not saying they haven't done it, but they
Right,
certainly
right,
haven't done it in prime time, middle of the day, that type of
right.
thing. And I'm like, what's
Remember what
going
I
on?
said? Remember what I said in the opening, that we are just looked upon as that small country over there. You know, and even in the Caribbean, we tend to exercise that same thing, talking about the small islands.
Yes.
And
yes.
on a global scale, all are we small?
All of us. All of us.
Yeah, I put the street vernacular on that. All are we small? Yeah. In terms of how they look at us. So they calling us small, and we have the audacity to call somebody else small too. You know, we all in this thing together. We tend to think we're different. We on some other level.
Right.
When
we have more value.
When the powers that be, don't really care about any of us.
Any of us.
That's not newsworthy.
Right.
It isn't a major concern on the world stage.
You remember not too long ago, we were called the SHIT whole countries by someone of great standing in our community.
He's not great. He's not great.
No, of great standing.
He was in a great position.
He was in a great position.
He was standing great.
No, he was in a great position. No, he was in a great position. But the thing is that, who was it? Last week in school, one little boy, I was subbing in a class, and I was talking to this young boy, and he said something about himself, and I must have said, "Who are you?" or something. And he said, "You tell me who I am." And I said, "That's the first mistake you have made. Never you ask anybody to define you." He's old enough to start searching. And so then he tells me about his IEP, which is it's a standard thing that we do for children who have mental health issues and special needs. That's and I'm messing up the term here now. It's called IEP, and basically what it is.
The individual education plan.
It's like a service plan. And so they put the service plan together to decide how to treat this child. So you have a case manager, you have a teacher, all this stuff on the team that works with this child. And he says he's been diagnosed as ADD. And he says, "Well, I'm ADD." I said, "Don't you tell me about ADD. Somebody told you you're ADD. You need to tell me who you are, and we can go from there." And so the islands, we don't, to some degree, we're not sure who we are. And we keep letting these people tell us who we are, and we keep looking to them for help. But what you asked earlier, Karin, about the denial here, I don't think it's even denial. I think it's of no consequence. They just
avoidance.
Avoidance, yes. They're avoiding because it doesn't really matter. Now, it would take one person in the government or in the news media to say, "But wait a minute, what about that island?" But who's that person going to be? But so it is it's an avoidance. Now, if they have an American on the island, just one American on the island, and if they just happen to be lighter toned than I am, it will get out.
Send the Marines.
It will be a different story. There won't be any avoidance. It will be upfront.
I have a little question. Could one of the root causes be insecurity?
Of who's that? We're applying to?
Of avoidance and denial.
Of course. Of course. If you're insecure about who you are, if you're insecure about where you're going, if you're this, and even more importantly, if you're insecure about where you came from, if you're insecure about the place that you played in your family, where you belong in your family,
where you belong,
where you're going, all that stuff can make you, not can make you, but can kind of shift your thinking and your behavior into avoiding. I don't want anything that makes me feel like I used to feel when I was a child. And if I'm around people that brings out that feeling, I'm going to avoid them. There are people who don't like to go on the street, and they call that
agoraphobic.
What does it say again? Agoraphobia. Agoraphobia. So they stay away. They will not go on the street. They will avoid it. And some people go out at nights. They won't go out during the daytime. All this stuff, a lot of it comes from basic insecurity. But it can't be that simplistic. There are other things and other elements that feed into that. But remember something, whatever it is, whether it's avoidance or denial, it usually is something that develops over a period of time.
Now, the reason why I asked that too is I was looking at a small documentary, and there was this person that grew up very under strict rule with the parents, very, very strict. And they were telling their story, and they were so eager to, when they became a teenager, to leave home. So they left home around 17, 18, around there, and left home. And then in the storyline, they said they left the frying pan and jumped into the fire because they were so eager to leave the house that they grabbed onto anyone that was able to, they were able to run with. And this was a young woman, by the way. And the guy was approximately 20 years her senior.
Ooh.
And then so she leaves home, jumps into the, so she's giving the story, and now she says she left the frying pan and jumped into the fire.
But there was little education and little preparation for anything outside of the insulated environment she was living in.
Now, is it a situation where she could be stuck in her choices later on in life? I mean, that
doesn't have to be.
You know, and if that's the case, how could someone break out of that cycle?
First, you have to admit you're in a cycle. That's part of the biggest part of being a therapist is having somebody sit there and you say, hey, let's process this. And tell me what happened during your teenage years. And you get all this information and you talk to them. And you can get this close to the real gist of the problem, and they pull back. It's painful. They don't want to go back there. They're avoiding that pain, not understanding that in order to have a resolution, you have to go through the pain. You have to process. So what people do is that if I deny it long enough, it will go away. What happens is, like, if you deny it long enough, it just gets worse. And so then
it's natural to run from pain, though.
Of course it is, but guess what? And I'll say this because I know it's true. There's nothing sweeter. There's nothing sweeter than having had a pain that is no longer a pain. I can tell you that. And I'm telling you, psychologically and spiritually, I allow myself to go into things that I know is going to be painful. But I've come out on the other side so often better off that I allow it to happen. But it is a fearsome thing. The average, and I'll say the word average, the average person does not want to feel. That's why we have such a society that we have now. People don't want to feel any pain.
But you don't think some of us are addicted to the pain, Dr. Judith?
Of course, some of us are. But also, remember, some of us are addicted to the pain because we get attention when we're in pain. See, when I say, oh, my head hurt, and I just, you want some Fenzik? No.
Some people want a pity party.
That's it. And they don't want the Fenzik because the headache might go away. If the headache goes away, then they won't have the attention. So there are a lot of gains that people get from being avoided, from living in denial. And this whole thing is that if I just keep saying it's not true, it's not real, then it's going to disappear, and people pay attention to me, and all these other things that they call them primary and secondary gains. So all these gains that we think we get, in the long run, what they do, they enable us, because the goal is to be healthy. Who made the definition of healthy? Well, one of this book, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Health Disorders, they're saying what's normal. To some extent, they're deciding what's normal. So they get a whole bunch of facts and stuff and statistics, numbers to prove that that is normal. So if you fall in that category, then you're normal too. But you have to remember that some of the people that write these things ain't quite normal themselves, if you want to deal with the word normal. So, but what it is, the key thing is, and this is something that I say so often, until we can say, let's put it this way. If I hurt my ankle and I keep saying, it's all right, man. soon go away, man. Soon go away. And I keep walking on the foot. Now it's a severe enough hurt. And I keep walking on the ankle. I put pressure on the ankle. Next thing it starts swelling. No, man. So I'm going to pray over it. And I do all this stuff because people in religion use denial a lot. And they use avoidance a lot. They use religion to avoid responsibility, to avoid living a sensible life. So I can say that the foot is not a problem. And next time it's swell up big, so I can keep denying. Do you know there are people who keep denying it even after they have surgery for the foot?
They can't deny it after they lose the foot and then the calf and mess it. They can't deny it after that.
At that point,
listen, you better believe they can. Dysmorphia. You talk about dysmorphia when you look at your body and you can't. Listen, people can say anything. Body dysmorphic. Who? My leg, my foot fine, man. No problem.
But there's no foot, ma'am. Ma'am, you have no foot.
Right, man. And you said that's
severe. They will always find a reason outside of themselves to blame.
Of course.
For whatever it might be.
Because what hurts us is the inside. So if we can get away, and that's a good point. If we can get away from the inside, I tell people being me is hard because I have to face me every day. I can't escape me. I mean, I have thought of doing it, but my thing is that I have to come full circle and come back to why bother. So every day, Judith has to face herself. And that's something I would love to be able to help people to learn. After a while, it becomes easier because not everything in you is bad.
The reason that this category or this topic is so difficult is because it applies to so many things. Because in previous episodes we've done, you've mentioned avoidance and denial to apply to colorism and things like that, where people are not comfortable in their own skin, comfortable with their own race. You know what I mean? They are constantly trying to change, as you said, body dysmorphic disorder applies as well. Change everything to reflect what others will find acceptable. That's so I that's the fascinating part about this particular topic, but it is such a broad topic.
But also what Sam said, it is both of them, avoidance and denial. One of the main themes within them is self and self-esteem. And part of it is that this young boy told me to tell him who he is. I said, no, you tell me who you are. Because we are so dependent on people telling us who we are. And they could tell you any striking thing. And the next thing you know, you're trying to become what they told you. So you have to come to people with an understanding, at least an awareness of who you are, because they might tell you the wrong thing. And you start acting like, well, Judith, I think you're a horse. No, I admire horses, but I don't, I ain't got 4 legs. So I have to learn that I'm not a horse, because somebody might very well tell me I'm a horse. And they used to be down on my 4s and telling people I'm a horse, Karin told me I'm a horse. And I'm just
Karin did not.
Something I experienced. Something I experienced or came to a realization with last week in my Toastmasters meeting. The question was asked, what are you looking forward to for your next birthday? And I said, first and foremost, I want to see it. But in terms of expecting gifts and all of these things, I don't. I tend not to celebrate my birthday. I tend not to look forward. And then in the process of answering the question, I answered truthfully, and it took me back to childhood, growing up in abject poverty, where we didn't have. There was always a lack of everything. So when holiday time come around, you're playing with a toy from last year or the year before, or you're playing with some toy that you made. And when birthday time come around, you learn not to expect anything because you wasn't getting anything. And I grew up with that. And even now, birthday, okay, yeah. Is it that I don't like celebrating birthdays? I don't know. Or am I in denial that it's because of so much hurt that it caused as a child, why it is today I'm just indifferent about the situation?
Can be a combination of things. Can be a combination of things, but let me tell you what's interesting what you just said. It can be a combination of all those things, but it can also be attention seeking.
Oh no, my birthday will come and you wouldn't know. So I'm not seeking anything.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Not wanting to be celebrated can be a form of attention seeking. When you say, remember, birthday is a big deal to a lot of people, trillions of people. And here you come. Oh no, I don't need that. I don't need to be celebrated. What you get, whether you see it or whether you understand or whether it applies to you, it exists. That some people will say, I don't want. Let me tell you, I met a lady. I have a lovely lady. I was friends for years, and she apparently is allergic to chicken. Never heard of that before. Never heard of it. But it doesn't mean it doesn't exist because I never heard of it. And I noticed though that even she never ate chicken, and she'd cook several things when she cooked meats or get-togethers and stuff. But I recognized she owned this. It was like a mark of, some kind of special mark on her. I'm allergic to chicken, and she made it so unique. And so I was like, okay, why are you going on so about it? It got her a distinction from everybody else. It made her different. It made her stand out. Now, did she necessarily know that? No, I saw it. As a therapist, I see people therapeutically. I see myself therapeutically. So I knew just from the way she carried on each time, I said, nah, she's getting a charge out of this. Just to be known, she's allergic to chicken. So you saying you don't want to be...
They're diagnosing me and you're telling me what now?
I am telling you, it does not have to apply to you. You can own it or you can dash it away.
You don't have nothing to own. It's just, listen, I'm telling you, one way or the other, at this point of my life, I don't care. But where did that don't care attitude come from?
I told you.
That is what I realized. It came from the point of always being disappointed. So I learned not to set my expectations too high so that I won't be disappointed. Okay, and it has come to that point now where it's just like,
okay.
So you, in a way, you conditioned yourself, not to expect anything.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying,
conditioning yourself. I'm sorry, Dr.
Let me hear from Dr. Sam. Hold on.
Finish what you're saying, Sam.
Yeah, I was just saying what you're conditioning yourself to do may not necessarily be the real desire.
Okay.
You're just creating. You do the conditioning as a shell or as a protective shield. Like, okay, you know what? It could be celebrating anything. It doesn't have to be a birthday. It could just be whatever it is that you just put up this shield or you put up this protective thing. Like, you know what? Yeah, I don't really worry about these things because, maybe back then there was some kind like how you're connecting to it. Well, there was so many disappointments. So then this shield is created. And then now today, so in a way, you're not really feeling it, but it doesn't mean that it's totally gone. It's just that, okay, you've learned to mask it.
Insulate.
But I think that's what's happening.
I mean, it stretches beyond birthdays. And
yes, thank you.
I've often discussed this with Karin the very same way. I'm telling her, I don't know how to celebrate sometimes.
As a Judith, you need to pull out the sofa now, all right? Because
you don't want to lay down on the sofa, man. Them too hard-headed.
Make him turn up.
I gotta block her screen. Hold on. Yeah, when it comes to celebrating victories, small victories, huge victories.
You don't allow
celebrating myself. Hold on, I'm on the couch, man. No, sit down.
see. Okay, I'm sitting down next to you.
It's his way.
So what I'm saying with small victories, large victories, I look at some people sometimes, celebrating, and I'm like, what is all the excitement about? When people are like, I don't feel that. I don't know how to feel that. I don't know how to
Mr. Henry. Mr. Henry, in all of us, human beings, there are celebratory things in us, things that give us reason, we feel excited about, we want to say, that was nice. How we express it is not the same. Everybody expresses it differently. But all human beings, to some extent, wants to be noticed. We want to be rewarded. We want to have a pat on the shoulder. We want attention because it's human. I understand what you said. It sounds like when you're a child, disappointment after disappointment, something in your brain said, you know what? I ain't hoping for nothing because they ain't going to get nothing. I understand that. It happens. But I also know psychologically, you see, when people talk about in your unconscious, to me, when you're unconscious, you're out. I'm talking about your subconscious.
Not unconscious.
No, people say, no, they use that word interchangeably all the time. You know, in her unconscious. I said, no, it's her subconscious. In your subconscious, there could be other things why you do this. And I don't think most of us are totally aware of the things that we do and why we do them. And that includes you. So maybe you started out because the dynamism of our brain and our mental health state, you might have started out thinking, I ain't gonna look for nothing. And somebody just wrote and said self-fulfilling prophecy. You say you're not gonna get nothing, and so you get nothing. Somebody just wrote that, and that's part of the deal too. But also what happens to us sometimes is we get so used to saying we don't expect anything and we don't want anything. In that very act, we get attention that we might not otherwise get. That's a part of it. You don't have to agree with me. It's there. Whether or not you possess that, I don't know. So put it this way. If I say, I used to do that. Don't do anything for me. I don't want anything. And, you know, what I was expressing was unworthiness. I know that now. I didn't feel worthy to have a party thrown for me. I didn't feel worthy for a lot of things. So I said, I truly didn't feel that I should get anything. But let me tell you something. Yeah, that's why I tell you I love Jesus. You see, when I read that I am worthy of getting good things, bring it on. Bring it on. I had to learn that it's okay to receive. So for years, nobody could buy me a gift. If they bought me something, I felt ashamed. I wanted to take it back. And why you do it? Now I don't go looking for anything. But if somebody wants to give me something, I'm willing to accept it because my perception of me changed. So I don't know. Yes, Sam.
On the flip side, though, I didn't mean to cut you. On the flip side, if you're expecting something, people might think that you're bougie.
Yeah.
Or that you know, on the woman's side you're a diva, on the man's side you're I forget what they call the particular men or the peculiar men. But it's sort of like, okay, well, is there a thin line there? Because if you don't act like you want it, it's given. If you act like you want it, you're too bougie.
But the thing is, Sam, there's a balance in life. Most of us never attain it. Most of us as human beings never attain it. But there's a balance. If you have good self-concept, you look at the world very differently from somebody who does not have a good self-concept. And if you look at situations like, well, I don't think they're going to give me nothing. After a while, people just won't give you nothing because they that's what you expect from them.
That's what you said. Plant that seed by
exactly. You plant the seed, and people don't want to give you anything anyway. Most people don't want to give you a blouse and skirt, so they're glad when you say that. So,
what I was going to say too, you know, as you saying all of this, I reflect to when I was a teenager, and one of the things that happened with me naturally is that I was considered wild. And wild, not meaning wild like you're running through the bush and you're swinging like Tarzan, not that kind of wild.
Not that kind of wild.
I was a happy, or I in many aspects, I expressed happiness. So I would laugh a lot. I would just do kid stuff,
happy things.
And right, but in a way it was considered wild, or he laughed too much, or he joked too much, or he this too much, or he that too much. Eventually, but I'm happy I did it. Like as a man looking back at it, I'm happy I did the wild kid stuff because eventually I outgrew it. So now, it's like, okay, if something is like, okay, well, I'm an adult, I'm matured because I did that.
But you do know you should have kept some of that, right?
I have it. I still love laughing.
Oh, okay. You can't give up all of it.
I mean, I'll, it's like, give me some ice cream and you'll see it. But, but I'm just saying some of those things, as I'm older, so of course now it's a different type of a thing. And so people who haven't seen me in a long time and who felt, well, yeah, he's a joker, he is serious, and he, and they realize, they look at the achievements, then it really blows them away. They're like, really, you did this?
But that's because people cannot perceive you in two elements at one time. They have to either see you good or bad, or smart or stupid, or sad or happy. Most people do not realize that we have dimensions to us, and we can have all these emotions and still be steady and hardworking and whatever. So, Mr. Henry, sorry, Sam, Mr. Henry, I'm not taking what you said away from you. Okay, it's yours, and you can keep.
So could I set up an appointment to come lay on your lap? I mean your sofa.
You see, that's what they call a Freudian slip. I call it a Freudian bra. You got it? That's the slip.
I'm glad Mr. Chase is not here to jump on that one tonight.
Right? Because that'll be the other dynamic. But the reason why I brought that up is that listening to how Curtis expressed, okay, you know what, I'm not expecting anything. Now, it could have been, if he outgrew it, it would have been a different sensation or a different dynamic
right.
than growing up with the disappointments. And so now he's an adult and he's not, so there's this shell that's there.
But there's something that he has to work out. Because something, what happens sometimes, a person says, I don't want anything, I don't want anything. And they're the same people, now I'm not saying you, but the same people, when they don't get anything, so what? Nobody ever get nothing. What you say about want nothing? So nobody ever get you nothing. So
but
the key thing is when you don't get something, how do you feel? Are you like, oh, I knew that was gonna happen? What do you feel?
No, at this point, it like you say, that shell, that wall update, not bother me because I'm not looking forward to anything. I'm not looking. I don't think it's material. I'm not looking for anybody to come and celebrate and bring me anything and say, oh yeah, because it's like you said, that shell is there, so it just.
I think it's attention.
Brought down that shell there, but anyway, I don't think it's
attention.
Right, I don't think it's material with him. I don't think so. I really don't. But I do realize that if you don't get, without being too going too far in, it's about acknowledgement from key people. I think that's important to you. If truth be told, acknowledgement from certain people in your life is important to you on a particular day. And as far as the birthday, I think that the basic premise of a birthday, from my perspective, I'm so glad you were born. I'm so glad we met. I'm so glad you're here. To me, that's just basic. Here's a little token of something. You know what I mean? I don't think it has to be some great. I've known people, especially with young children, who go so far overboard with presents. The child, the next day, unless they kept little notes with what came from whom, the child has no clue. And the simplest toy is what the child will play with. All these fancy, big, ostentatious gifts. That child has no clue. I don't care about the age. Could be a preteen. They don't care about all that big stuff. Little acts, little gestures I'm so glad you're here, sweetheart. I'm so glad you're here, little baby. I'm so glad you're here.
Listen, what you're saying
Look what
there
happened.
is
Look what happened. Look what happened some years ago. One of my children, I'll leave them nameless at this point in time, called me at 11:30 p.m. on my birthday.
time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember. Called me at 11:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I said, happy birthday, Daddy. I said, for the half hour that's left?
Yes, okay.
No, I say, yeah, for the half hour that's left. I said, wait.
Pay attention to these things.
No, no, serious. I said, for the half hour that's left. I said, how come, if you're sincere, how come you never called me this morning?
Oi.
I say happy birthday for the day
Oi.
for me to enjoy.
Oi.
You
can't come by my coach. You can't come by my coach. Somebody.
Then, hold on, I'm telling you. Then the next one, at some other point in time, call me the day after and say happy belated. What I am trying to say, if this is something that you are concerned about, something that you celebrate, something that's important to you, then where is the effort from you? And the sincerity from you?
Hold on.
Where is that sincerity from you towards me? Where, hold on, what I'm saying once again, I come in like an afterthought. So it's like, why even bother?
But why are you concerned about half hour, 2 minutes, belated?
If
you don't care.
If you were sincere in your efforts,
wait.
Call me for morning.
No, you project.
You don't realize.
Time in the day.
You
Don't
do
call me
care.
the day after.
You
Don't
care.
call me on Wednesday to tell me have a happy Tuesday.
Hold up.
For
Don't
somebody
call
who
me-
don't care about it.
Do not
boy.
call me on Wednesday the 5th to tell me have a happy Tuesday the 4th. That's
But Dr. Henry, if the children who will be nameless was given the notion that you care about your birthday,
why not?
They're not gonna put a little marker in the head to say, you know what, yeah, he really care about this. Don't even worry. I know they just call it on Father's Day.
But you care about that either?
So not that you had to make any noise. They say a closed mouth don't get fed. But I'm just saying, if they get to know, if a child gets the notion that this thing isn't important to you, then you're gonna get that sort of response. So the fact that they even call you half an hour before should be held in high regard. Like, wow, you remember this? I'm amazed you make it in.
Attention seeking. Sound like attention seeking
Night hour.
behavior to me.
That's supposed to surprise you. Like, wow, really?
But I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. If you don't celebrate this thing, it don't mean nothing to you. Nobody don't call you. Whether they call you 5 minutes to midnight, 5 minutes after, who cares? You don't care. And they've got the message that you don't care about it. So don't worry about it.
You see?
They never call you.
It is important to you. Let me see the importance coming from
You hear a Carl Knight say you should have just appreciated the call because you never wanted it.
If it's important to you. You say birthdays are important.
That's why you got the call, but it's 10 minutes after. That's why you got the call. But you see, she just said, Carl Knight just said it best. Just appreciate the call. You don't care about birthday.
That's importance.
Just appreciate the call.
Supposed to be
That's
important.
Judith. That metal the knob bend and it now breaking the wrist.
Oh, I don't want to live on my coach and me harass myself. When?
No, me say you lie.
You idiot.
The piece of metal the knob bend.
I never born last time behind a call. Go ahead. Because in the very idea of not seeking attention, you get an attention. Even right now.
No,
Even right now.
do I look like I'm enjoying this attention you're talking about?
Well, we are.
The child, I sure the child was confused. I sure the child was confused. The child called it before midnight. And the
Where
chap
you
was
coming
hang up the phone like, what wrong with this man, boy?
from? Oh, half an hour before my birthday that I don't celebrate, that I don't care about. You call me? Why you call me half an hour before the birthday I don't celebrate? I don't even care about the birthday. Why you call me half an hour before? I'd have served your sauce. I say, okay, last call you get for the birthday from me.
If it was Seventh-day Adventist, that call would have had to happen before sunset.
Curtis is a master of sleight of. Curtis is a master of sleight of hand.
Sincerity in that. Otherwise,
So what now? The master of sleight of hand, right? Listen.
If it is supposed to be important, the it, and I am supposed to be important,
there's the key.
then show that it's
there's the key.
I don't
deal
with
the narcissism in there.
I don't deal with hypocrisy.
That's not hypocrisy.
Because the very same way.
It doesn't matter when. It doesn't matter when.
I know it's important to you, and I call you. Because
that's the key right there.
I reach out and I do it.
You keep going back. I got you. I got you, Star. You keep going back to the gist of the issue. The gist of the issue is that you like to be considered important. And when somebody calls you late, it diminishes your importance.
Let me take you back to another childhood. Let me take you back to another childhood thing, right?
We don't have time for all the traumas, you know.
You have to pay somebody for this.
Hold on. My father, right? Let me say it was a week in advance, and he said, Christmas was the Sunday. He said, I'm coming Saturday to carry you in town to buy your toys for Christmas Eve day. I'm buying you whatever you want. As a child, I say, yes, I know what I wanted. The one where you call it scale electric set. The one where you put the track pieces together and you make it in the shape and you put the car on it and the battery and it run around the track and it go up the thing and come. Yeah, that's what I wanted. The man said, I will get you whatever you want.
All right.
Saturday are coming for you.
Mercy.
My grandmother wake me up from about 5 in the morning.
Hallelujah.
And we get dressed and we sit down and we wait. Now, mind you, at this point of time in Trinidad, stores close half day on a Saturday.
Yeah, watch the clock.
The man show up. Yeah. We sit down there, we watching the time. All three of us. Me and my two brothers, and we sit there, we watching the time, and we watching the time, and we watching the time. And nervous sitting in. He did show up. And he picked us up, and we reach in town. By the time we get in town, you're talking about maybe 10 minutes before the store closes. And we walk in the store, and as I walked into the store, what do you think I see standing in front of me?
What's your
A big display of the train set. Ooh. And I said, yes, this is what I want. And he pulled my hand. He said, no, come over here. And he buy me a little police car. So the same police car I had the year before, and the year before, and the year before that.
You want to mold your character. You don't want to make it a train.
I almost cussed. Look. Oh yeah, it did mold my character, right? It did mold my character. So that little car is what I came home with. When you set me up that I am going to get whatever I want. But instead, you get me whatever you wanted.
Whatever he could afford.
Don't do that. You don't do that to a child. You don't do that to a child.
No, you don't do that to anybody. It's wrong.
All right. My point is, after that car didn't last 3 days.
Mash it up.
You know why? Because I had about 3 of them laying around that were beyond the state of repair. You understand? So that one joined the junk pile in about 3 days.
But I'm gonna tell you one thing now.
Was there a takeaway lesson as you're older now and you look back?
That's what I want to deal with.
The takeaway lesson is don't lie to children and don't set them up with those kind of promises.
But that's not all you should get out of it. That's not all you should get out of it.
Okay, wait, hold on. Wait, you're telling me what I should get? The man
I'm telling you what you should get. If you want to be a fully functioning human being, I'm telling you what you should have gotten. By now.
We're beating up the desk for the desk.
By now. Not at that age, but by now, you should have gotten something out of that.
But I tell you what I get out of
And
it.
let go of that foolishness.
Dr. Judith says,
lesson
stop
was-
it.
No.
The lesson was not to be that type of father. That was the lesson for me.
Okay, that's a good lesson. But what
So
else?
tell me that's not what I'm supposed to get. That's
What
not telling
else? What else have you
what
gotten
did
out
you-
of it?
How much less you asking me? We ask, the man
What
asked
else
me.
have you gotten out of it? Because it sounds like what you got out was some bitterness. I don't want to. What else did you get but the bitterness?
What, didn't I just answer that?
No.
Yeah, okay, I think he got the feeling of expectation. So like whatever the feeling of expectation was, you got that feeling.
He killed
Like,
it.
you know what? If I'm expecting something, I know that this is the feeling.
Oh no, I had great expectation whenever I was expecting a baby. Oh, that was a good feeling.
Because
That
you
was a
played a
very
because
good
you played a part in it. You
when I
could
was
trust
expecting
that.
a child. Oh yes.
Yeah, because
yes.
you had a part in it.
Exactly.
What he did to you, you had no part in it. But
And I
you gotta
trusted
let that go.
process.
Because I'm gonna tell you something. You're gonna lose a lot. You probably have already. You're gonna lose a lot of good stuff in life. If you keep having that crap in your brain back there, it pulls at you. And I tell you what it does, it sends messages to the people around you and it pulls people away from you. Because what you expect on the inside is there, your language reflects it, your behavior reflects it, and you lose people who would want to stick around with you because you expect nothing. Bottom line. I expect, let me tell you something. I expect everything of God. I don't expect anything of human beings. But I'm not bitter about it. I'm not lost. I'm not, oh my God, people. No. That's not how. What I'm saying is that we have to get to the place where we do not deny what we're feeling about life and ourselves and other people, and we don't avoid situations that makes us exercise some degree of trust in people. You avoid that thinking you're protecting yourself. That avoidance is actually injuring you and you're not even fully aware of it. But without a couch, I'm telling you, straight up.
So he worthy to be on the couch now?
Listen, every one of us is worthy to be on the couch.
Okay.
But sometimes some of us get on the couch and we start snooze. And we start denying why we're really on the couch. And then we start saying, "No, hold my hand, I'm gonna hold my hand." I said, "No, you're not on the couch, I'm gonna hold your hand." Just rub my knee, rub my knee. No, I'm not on the couch, me rub your knee. You're here for work to be done. Because no matter what any of us says, the things that we have the biggest problem with is the things that we usually get the most attention out of, and sometimes the greatest fun. The things that we call a problem, we get something out of it, or else we wouldn't keep doing it. They say the sign of madness. Just keep doing the same thing over and over again, looking for different results. So the thing is that if I were your child and the way I thought as a little girl, I wouldn't call you for your birthday. I wouldn't call you at all. Because you see, you don't want no big deal. So their fault to call you. I wouldn't call you about a blouse or skirt. Because you say you don't want it.
Are you also saying
give people things they don't want?
Are you also saying that someone, now I don't want to, just totally think it at him.
It don't matter. He's a picture of many people.
Poor thing. They're jamming it tonight, boy. But
I said poor thing.
Poor thing. But what I'm saying is,
if
someone have that tendency, is it somewhat like an energy that will permeate into other areas?
I just said it. It does.
No. Yes, you're saying it. But what I'm saying is, what would prompt the person to change that attitude or change that outlook?
What would cause them to change it is to first admit that something is off, and then desire not to keep repeating this behavior. If you gotta get tired of it.
If they're not even aware of that.
No, listen, I agree with that. We're not always aware. but we can't help anybody who's not aware. So somebody has to, listen, I wouldn't go to the doctor because I'm healthy. I go to the doctor because I think something is wrong, right?
Mhm.
So if we won't use him, poor thing, as you say. Another fella with similar issues. If he came to me, I would say, so what is the problem? What is the presenting problem? What is it that's bothering you? Tell me, talk to me, what is it? Now, if you tell me the part of the problem you don't celebrate birthdays, you don't see any reason for it. I grew up not expecting anything. I kept getting this little police car for years and years. I never wanted to be a policeman. I don't know why they gave it to me. I wanted a train set because I wanted to be a conductor on a train. That's what I really wanted. Whatever. And you tell me that, then I have to sit with you and try to figure out, okay, what is this about this that hurts you so much? Because it hurts. Why you keep bringing it up? Why does it hurt so bad?
Why are you using present tense?
I'm talking to my client. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my client.
So okay, what if at one point he went and bought the set for himself? Okay, he couldn't get it as a kid.
Great question.
Before he became the adult, he said, "You know what? I really wanted this train set. My old man was my old man. I love him still.
I like this.
You know, I want this train set. Let me go and pick up the train set for myself."
Okay, guess what? And I think you all already know the answer. The fact is that it's who promised him the train set. And remember, his father didn't promise him the train set. His father said, whatever you want.
Yes.
Okay? So he never said, I'll buy your train set. He wanted, I'm sorry, not you. My client that I'm talking to right now wants a train set. And so when the father said, whatever you want, he inserted the train set in that little line there. He inserted it in there and said, oh, so I'm going to get a train set because that's what I said. I can get whatever I want. Nothing is wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. But the problem is that there's no communication to confirm this. It's not that he said to his father, so Dad, I want a train set. Can I get that? Then at that, no, he's a child. I'm sorry, not you. This client I'm talking to was very young at the time. So they wouldn't have that kind of wisdom to say, Dad, what I want is a train set. Can I get, you say I can get whatever I want. Can I get a train set? No, because what the child, remember what the father represents. The father represents love and kindness and I'm not talking to you. The position of the father, okay, whether you receive it or not, that's what it comes under. Loving, caring, kind. That's what father comes under. So this client of mine is feeling, oh, well, my father says whatever I want. Now, in the past, he has not been really giving me what I want, but hey, maybe this year will be the year I get what I want. So I built up in my head, Father don't know about train sets, but you do. And Father come just in time for the store them to close. Not a lot of
strategy.
Not a lot of discussion goes on. Father don't just have enough time. Pick up that. Because if he come too early, they have to dicker with, I want that. And said, Father said, listen, let's make it simple. I have $5. One of that, you get one, you get one. Let's go. Store shut up. But the child doesn't process all of that. The child is saying, I didn't get my train. I didn't get the train. And so what the child does, he or she builds up in their head what expectations mean. It means crap. But the child doesn't realize that it also needs communication to get what you want. You can keep expecting things of people, but if you never tell them what you want, there's a difference. So what I'm saying is that does that child have a chance to grow out of that? Of course, that's a choice. You can learn to forgive your father for whatever reason why he did what he did. And then some people buy the train set, not my client, because he's too angry to buy the train set. My client would not buy the train set. I will show him how to blast the train set. You promise to give it to me, and if you're dead, I'm going to dig you up and make you give it to me. I want a train set from you. Because if I buy it for myself, it don't mean the same thing. I want it from the person who was supposed to be my provider. The person who said, I'll get you anything. because that is meeting expectations. That's making me feel loved as a child. That's making me feel you're really my father because you said I can get anything and I got the desires of my heart. Buying it for yourself never quite fulfills it.
No, okay. So this is the alleged hypothetical situation. What
The
if
patient that I see, yes.
Yeah. What if the father was not available to even have that conversation?
Listen, one of the things that, and this is very practical, I might not make any sense to you. One of the things that I have learned to do as an individual to make my life easier to live and less burdensome is to forgive people in absentia. Whatever my father didn't do because he couldn't do it financially or whatever, I do not hold him to that. I don't do it to my mother either. So the bottom line is, for me, I want to be healthy. So I freed them so I can be free. And if I want to train set bad enough, I'm sorry, I'm confusing the client and myself now. If there, whatever it is that I want, I have to go get it to satisfy that thing in me. But what people don't understand is not the thing that you wanted so bad, it's the attention from the person that you wanted.
We have a saying in Trinidad, when the fox couldn't get the grapes, he said it's sour.
Yeah.
It's sour anyway.
Yeah, them sour anyway. I ain't want that. And men, a lot of people on the street treat women the same way, right? They stand up there, they call a woman and they say, "Hey, baby, pretty girl, come here." And she said, "Who, you?" I said, "You're ugly anyway, go here." Right? When the fox can't get the grapes, he said sour. So somewhere along the road, I say, you know what? I don't want no stinking train set anyway.
Okay. And so I know that's how you are.
I probably never went and buy one.
I know that's how you are. Because it was never, and Karin said it earlier, it was never the train. It was the person giving you the train. That was the whole thing. Because a stranger could come and give you 100 of those same train, give you all the batteries and everything, and you say, "Yes, man." And then you turn and say, "Who are you?" You know my daddy.
Right, because it didn't come from
daddy.
the person
No, Dr. Judith.
You get it from the person that you value.
Dr. Judith. On May 28th of 2021, please call Curtis Henry at approximately 9, 10 a.m. in the morning so that, please.
I promise you, I will not call him.
I beg.
I will not call him. Because now he has made this thing more public. I cannot do such a thing. I'll be going against his dearest wishes. I believe in respecting people's wishes. Listen to me. I will never tell you, don't celebrate my birthday. But I'll never tell you that you have to. It's a choice. But I tell you what, I enjoy people celebrating me now.
I didn't keep talking. I'm going to show you something. Keep talking. I ain't going nowhere.
Oh, Lord. They're going to find a picture of a train. Listen, my oldest brother, our father did something to him when he was a teenager. And he's 75 years old, and he's still talking about it. And my father been dead for 28 years. Wow. I said, then why you never tell him? Why didn't you tell him and ease the stress?
You said May 28 at 9 a.m.?
8:30, 9.
Oh, better yet call him May 28 at 12:01. Just when it starts.
So, for Dr. Judith, who say that I don't, where you say I don't celebrate and I don't what? What did you say? It's not important to me.
I'm going by what you said to me, so don't bother turn around and say what I said.
I just remember something existed in an old photo album. You know. Hold on, let me show you. You remember
it's
these?
The man who lives in the past.
You remember these?
No.
Everybody had one in the living room.
Or a Bible or encyclopedia?
A photo album.
Oh, photo album. Okay.
Yeah, when people come over, you used to pull that out and show them.
You really thought he was pulling out a Bible? This is your best friend. You really thought that?
No, I still have one. Let me show you some. You could read that.
Touchstone, Immortal, High Power. King Curtis and Sister Mary with touch-tone pussy.
Say that word correctly for me now, please.
Please. Posse.
Posse.
And then you in there. But I'm not tell you see a skylark long time.
It's pussy, right?
You see a skylark long time, boy.
On
But
May
some birthday party they might have.
May 26, 1984. Come
He
together.
had a party for himself.
All right.
Skylark
So when
was
you say,
skylark.
I don't sell it. I learn and I watch and I shut off and I don't celebrate.
This man.
I just remember that I had a party for myself.
But I never said these things. You said them. How you gonna put it on me?
I just remember this. And I'm glad I had to say I had a party for myself.
So let me ask you a question. So you cut both ways. You said this, and then you said, and then you come back and say, "What are you doing?"
It's the duality of the Gemini nature.
There you go. I think we're beyond duality, about tonality now.
The flyer is laminated, Dr. Judith.
Hey, if I tell you, say him celebrate himself.
The fact that it's laminated, it means
laminated in his brain.
It's very important.
Listen, he celebrated himself along with Sister Marie and the posse.
And the posse.
And the posse. So him choose who him celebrates with. Him choose everything. See, part of this whole thing is that he chooses. Big part of this gentleman's personality. Him have to choose it. This is the kind of guy. No, listen, no, not you. I'm sorry. This client that I used to have, him, he will have, let me tell you something. One girl will like him. One girl like him. And him like her too, you know. But him just hate the fact she said first. Him know him like her too, you know. But him must be the one who start the ball rolling.
This
and
is
she gonna mess it up. Because him like to pursue. Oh, not him. The guy I was talking about.
Okay, all right.
The client. He likes to pursue. So when she beat him to it and say, I like you know. Like, man, what a blouse and skirt around this woman, man. She mess up my plan. Because part of this client that I have, part of his personality and his persona is to charm. And you know, I had a play once, and I think the guy who played the part reminded me of Curtis. You know, he had that that savoir-faire, you know, and him walk in and him have a certain style about him. And the lady mess up in business and never get to practice him style on her. So it upset him. So in other words, my client that I'm talking about is his terms. It's his way or the highway. And I'm done. I want my check in the mail. Matter of fact, I want my cash in the mail.
Hold on. Your client had so much charisma.
Yes,
that the lady was motivated.
She couldn't help herself.
Like him.
She couldn't help herself. But him wanted, you see, he likes the chase. And she messed him up. She denied him. And he had to avoid going into the chase.
That sounds like a movie.
Don't like Boomerang.
So, Dr. Judith, you know, you remember at the start, I tell you take the lead and run things there. So it's your show. This is your show. All right. So all you got, it is my responsibility to ask the questions, to change the topic, to end the show, to do nothing.
Well, I tell you one thing. I am going to say this to you right now because I'm treating you. I'm not treating you like a client anymore. I'm treating you like my. I want to use that word with you. I can't use that word with you. I won't say equal because that's a different story altogether. But I don't know what time you kind of wrap up the show, Mr. Sam Archer. But I think we're coming to that place where we should.
Let me ask you a question.
No more questions.
When you did the play, Dreadlocks Pizza.
Oh, this client that I have, yes.
What was there one Rasta in the play?
Yeah, man. That's what it's called, Pizza Dreadlocks.
Pizza Dreadlocks.
Yeah.
All right.
Dreadlocks Pizza.
I was just curious.
Yeah, man.
Where that come from, Father?
There is
it came from me.
No, but where it come from? Where question come from?
But him not here, so we can't get a sound idea about not here to tell us.
But Sam, where you get a name from?
No, on one of the previous shows, it was said that the client and Dr. Judith did a play.
Sam, you're good. You're good, Sam.
Called Dreadlocks Pizza.
There you go. You're good, Sam. Yeah, you can work anytime.
To, make a connection as what, why the,
But something, the story, the idea behind that story, is that he was married to a woman who never really and truly checked for the wife thing. She was just kind of there.
So she just buy pizza for lunch and dinner and everything.
But she denied any real relationship with him. And he knew what was going on, but he avoided facing the truth. So they just kept going at it like they had a real marriage. But it was really a dreadlocks pizza. A piece of dreadlocks. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fun night. Please, Mr. Henry, do you have any closing thoughts, please?
That was a bad decision.
I came here tonight to do the show without any great expectations, without any great contribution.
No expectations.
Because no expectations. I decided to just let things flow. Generally, I'm in the driver's seat, and I might be the choir master. I said tonight, you know what? Let me sit back. Let somebody else take the wheel. And I sit back. And for the first 20 minutes or so, the men were quiet because the women take the lead and they go on with it. However, I made the mistake and opened my mouth. And suddenly the show switched and it became about me.
14.
The lesson I take away from all of this is speak when you're spoken to and answer when you're called. Nobody was talking to me, and I went and I put my mouth in the people business, and then
you put your mouth in the people business.
I end up being the client. I end up being on the couch.
Try not to put your mouth in the people business, and that will work out better for you.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
Even the people in the chat.
People business. That way, hold up. Is that a special sentence?
I repeated what your friend said. What? I repeated what your friend said.
You're the one. Put yourself in it.
Oh God.
Mr. Sam Archer, would you like us to
hold on. I ain't done.
Oh well.
See, the people in the chat and all start to chastise me. Mr. Raymond, hold on. That's Raymond. Reggie.
Reggie.
Hi, Reggie.
God, Reggie. The man says something like a self-fulfilling prophecy that you should rise above. All the time I see the comment, I know it's you. And I had plans to bring Reggie back on the show. Oh gosh. Look.
He coming, man. He coming. Don't worry. He coming.
Today, I still am thinking about bringing Reggie back on the show. I even thought Reggie was going to be on the show today, and I was looking forward to it. I know this is the angle we're coming from.
He's on the show.
All right, me and you will talk, Raymond Richardson. And Carol Knight decided to it being mudded, but I can't even understand. That looked like Chinese to me. That looked like Mandarin. I can't read that.
That means it bothered you, Mr. Curtis. You should have appreciated the call. That's what I said.
It looked like Mandarin. I didn't understand anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
could we please have Mr. Archer to say something?
If that was a comment, that is my comment. I done.
Thank you. It's appreciated. Mr. Archer, closing thoughts, please.
Yes. This was very enlightening. I try to Trump thing now. You always have the same thing to say. But, in a better way. Avoidance. What is it? Avoidance on what? Denial. Avoidance.
Can't remember the topic.
We had a classic case of it tonight, We had a classic case of it tonight.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I connected with the conversation as well. And also with the conversation before. So it was, very, very positive, very, very positive situation. So if you have issues, this is for the viewing audience or listening audience. Dr. Judith is on board. Give her a call and sit on the bench. And that is my 2 cents.
Bring your own pillow and leave the avoidance and denial at home. Miss Forrester, your closing thoughts, ma'am?
Oh, Lord. Avoidance and denials comes in so many shapes and shades and sizes, like my earring boards.
Sizes.
I don't know if I have a distinctive way of putting it. I think, as you stated at the very beginning of this segment, to acknowledge the issue and to try to sort it out, maybe on your own through family, friends, or maybe we need a professional mental health specialist, you know what I mean? But once you acknowledge it, try to sort it out and do better. That's it.
Okay. Well, my closing thought is, I'm trying to copy my esteemed Dr. Henry, who's not here tonight. And I will say this: the topic of avoidance and denial is very powerful, as Karin, as Forrester just said. It's a wide topic, and it affects us in so many different areas of our lives. But at the base of it all is or should be a desire to be truthful with self and to not avoid the things in life that make us the most uncomfortable. The things that make us the most uncomfortable usually leads us to the greatest accomplishments. People who have fought against looking at themselves and seeing themselves as they truly are. People who desire to have, for instance, a train set, and they never got it from the person they wanted to get it from. They did what they sublimated that and turned it into something else and got much more out of life than a simple train set. So it's up to us. Do we want to go around avoiding our next move forward and by denying the moves in the past, denying that happened or how it happened or it shouldn't have happened? Because in order to move forward and not avoid, we've got to admit and no longer deny what hurt us, what caused us to have anxiety, what caused us to be uncomfortable. Once we make a decision not to no longer deny, we'll have no desire to avoid. And those are my final words for the night. God bless you all. Till next time.